morning, everybody. Welcome to the Gilbreath Career and Technical Center. As she said, I am the director here in Garland ISD for CTE. I happen to be officed here, but I've got a few important people I want to introduce to you as you go through the day. First off, I have one of my board of trustees here, President Linda Griffin, right here with us. It's awesome to have her here because we end up at a lot of trainings together, and so there's some unique perspective when you get both of us going, so it's awesome. Also, Brandy Schneider, she's the principal here, and so when we do breaks and stuff, this campus is very used to having adults with visitor badges just go kind of poke around, and so if you want to look into more of what we do after I talk a little bit about what the GRCTC does after I introduce my priorities, feel free. And then also I've got some of my team here, if you'll raise your hand. You know, I got to have my support staff. And then my wife came along just for fun. Yes, when I was asked to do this presentation, it was really about leadership priorities now. Like, what is it that's going on in technology, and how do we filter that to make sure that we're doing the appropriate growth for students? And that's really unique in CTE. If you're not familiar with career and technical education, we're not a program that's like deep into one content area. We're deep into tons of them. In our district, we have over 250 unique courses, 35 programs to study at the state level. We've changed some of those names to differentiate, so we actually have about 55 in our district alone. And then we've activated 13 of the 14 nationally recognized career clusters. So to think about keeping up with technology amongst that breadth, it's really difficult, but it was encouraging to be asked about priorities, because that's actually the work that my team and I are focusing on right now. But to know us, you gotta know our district. So this is us. And if you look up at the makeup of Garland ISD, we are uniquely diverse. If you go into our panorama studies, if you go into our demographic data, our strength is our diversity. When you walk around the campus, what I'm proud of, just from my own personal perspective, this is the hallways of America. This is truly a blend of what America looks like today, what Texas looks like today, but we also have unique challenges. With diversity comes a lot of backgrounds. In our district, we have 73 official languages spoken. When you look at other ones that we don't document, we're somewhere near 100 different languages spoken. Take a pause there. Like, technology can be what bridges that gap. Technology can be the entry point. But also, the one that's really changed over COVID, probably about 10% in the last 3 years, is we are a district of high poverty. Nearly 75% of low socioeconomic status. But that's where our priorities come in CTE, because we are a difference maker. Every kid deserves a great career, period. That's where our roots are as a department. And so no matter what the demographics are, we can make that difference. For the kids, you see 32% of the kids come through my program. That's a total of that year. When we look at a graduating class, last year's graduating class, 93% of our kids interface with career and technical education. That's huge. And so that's where these priorities come in. So I'm excited to share them with you because we've been preaching them over the last 2 years. These have really developed out of the work, either from what TEA has had us look at through accountability, or what our advisory council looks at. But what I want to really hang my hat on for technology is that when you're looking at implementing something, always hang your hat on what your priorities are and stick to them. And so we've got 3 and then a bonus, so I'm going to walk you through each one. So the first one is knowledge of the work, and that's demonstrated mostly through the industry-based certification. We have 2 girls here that have gotten their entrepreneurship and small business from Lakeview Centennial, and you can see them pictured here behind me. There's a lot of work that we do for industry-based certifications, and we're proud to lead the way in Garland ISD. Over the last 2 years, both of our senior classes approached 60% of them with an industry-based certification. Think about that. Almost 2/3 of them walk out of Garland ISD hallways prepared for some career, or at least being able to demonstrate, I have that knowledge when I sit in an interview. So when we're looking at technology and looking at things that we want to implement, okay, real talk, does it help us get the knowledge of the work to the kids? Can it bridge those gaps from the data that I just showed you earlier? Then our other priority, technical skills training. So yes, it's cool to have a certification, but where we're moving as a department, we've got to make sure that that certification comes with the appropriate skills. So that way when a kid sits at the interview and they have that credential and they say, sir, I'm ready to work, ma'am, this is the job for me. Here's the things I learned in my coursework through a coherent sequence that says I know how to do this. So it's both of those together. And this is where a lot of our time is spent. In CTE, we pride ourselves on hands-on learning. We want people to be reflective. We want them to be problem solvers. We want them to collaborate with one another. That root of our priority drives all of our technology purchases. And if it doesn't meet one of these priorities, which has been really nice for us as a department, now that we've got them well defined, I can tell the vendor, no, that doesn't match what we want. I've got to get more technical skills than what that offers to my kids. Because I've got achievement gaps to close. I've got to make sure that any kid can access that career. Oh, you can see all kinds of stuff there, from robotics to PLCs to additive manufacturing being adapted for architecture class. I personally took this picture. It's kind of like my favorite. It ends up in all my presentations, just so you know, the kid welding and then making it black and white. It just looks really sweet, right? But in making sure that they have everything they need to go through the work, experiencing it as much as they can here in Garland for free. One thing that I'm very proud about with our board of trustees, we pay for every certification. To tie for the last slide, that's been board emphasized and approved. And then we really tailor our budgets to make sure we match it to this. So every kid gets this free of charge. We cover as many fees as possible. It's just that's what we should be doing in public ed. Because remember what my driving goal was. Every kid deserves a great career. The other part, if you talk to our industry partners, employable skills is what they're all dying for. If you walk around the building, we actually have our Texas, well, I gotta remember the acronym, Federation of Automated Manufacturing Education down here in our labs all day today. They're actively recruiting kids, helping them build resume skills, helping them do interview skills in-house right now so that they can go apply for associates programs that are also internship programs that pay $20 an hour. And the reason why they're stepping in so much is because they are yearning for this. They need kids that not only know the technical, but they know how to behave. They know how to get off their phone. They know how to show up on time. They know how to ask a question when in doubt. That's probably the one that the other ones are easy to say because we know all of our faces are in phones lately. But when a kid can say to their manager, I need help, I didn't get this, that keeps the efficiency up. It keeps things from failing. And that's what they're looking for, true problem solvers. So the way we do this in our work is making sure that we have the equipment so kids can go to competition. Right here, I was talking to my friend from Cisco that I just met. This is Lawson Lay. He was the national champion in internetworking for Skills USA. Why did that happen? Well, because we had aligned knowledge of work. He had about 5 certifications that he'd earned here at the GRCTC. He attended Saxe High School. And then he had the technical stuff between the school budgets and some donations. He learned all the networking skills that we had. And then boom. I mean, I don't know, there's a lot of smiles up here. But that one, I mean, that's pure pride if you look at that. And so using technology to make sure that the kid can access that. So driving everything to priority, but then here's my bonus. We're focused on community partnerships in CTE. We do nothing without industry voice. Right now I'm talking a lot with Dallas College about a particular program, and we're going back and forth, and what did it land with? Well, Mr. Bruman, can you find some industry partners that support your idea? Well, once I get their voice, we can build curriculum, We can pick the technology because we can tie it directly to wherever it is, and then we just accelerate. So while my priorities are good, when you're looking at technology and what the priorities are now, make sure you're looking outside of education. Make sure you're looking at the next step, looking at the transition point. And I might be preaching to the choir with the Learning Council because this is a group of industry partners, vendors, educators, and so on. But make sure you always honor that too, because if you don't have industry voice, you may have pumped them up and then nobody wants them. And that would be heartbreaking for us to do as educators, especially in CTE. So making sure you interface, we're very proud to work with our chambers of commerce. We're a tri-city area made up of Garland, Rowlett, and Saxe. I did it on purpose in alphabetical order because they're all equal. But it's commonplace for us to take our steps and make sure we hear out what they need and attend their functions. For example, again, with the FAME chapter that I described earlier, right now, the Garland Chamber of Commerce CEO, who also happens to be the Dallas County College's trustee, place 1, is right here helping out with the same fight. So it takes that effort to get kids convinced that what they do and that technology that you're all looking for needs to support that complete drive upward. So I would be remiss to not talk about our priorities and say, hey, what do we do in Garland ISD? So what are some of our programs? We're a huge district. We're just under 52,000 kids. CTE interfaces with 12 middle schools, 7 high schools, all 6A, and a career tech center. So that's 20 campuses. In terms of population, we're approaching about 16,500 kids that are served in CTE across all those. So having a variety of options to make sure every kid does have access to a great career is critical. So you can see first, I put up here our P-Tech programs. So these are our early college programs that are designed around industry standards that get applied Associates of Arts around different career clusters. We have them at 6 of our 7 high schools, and I have them listed up here. A couple that are in the works, like this is an ongoing thing too. One is at Naaman and Forest High School. We're currently trying to grow the hospitality one and then add an HVAC P-Tech. So that way a kid has the 18-hour level 1 certificate from the college and the EPA 604 so they can work on your air conditioner and mess with the refrigerants. Sorry, I'm supposed to know everything, so messing with the refrigerants is layman's term. I know there's more technical work there. At Rowlett High School, where it says software developer, we're in talks to add a real estate program because we're finding out that the T-Rec is on our IBC. It's also available to 18-year-olds, and Dallas College doesn't require a TSI component. So a kid can actually get that pathway, get some college experience, and then get more excited about graduation. We have high expectations in Garland, 98% expectation for graduation this year. So if we're gonna get them there, we've gotta inspire them. And so I won't read them all to you, but this is a ever-changing one. The 2 that are in asterisk started this year. We have a dual credit welding program coming online for the first time ever. But think about that, a kid that, I hate to talk in like a stereotype, but let me help you think through this. So you're thinking about a kid that's, I don't like school, I only want to work with my hands. And so that student may have not performed as well as they could have because school's just not valuable. But now I'm giving them college credit with hands-on training with lots of, we've been focusing our Perkins money in this lab quite a bit with lots of high-value technological equipment, about $250,000 over the last 3 years. How does that change a kid that freshman year when they get their certification and they experience that, and then they can start connecting to it and go, wait a minute, I don't want to just be a welder, I want to have my own welding shop. Well, maybe I'll take dual credit English so I can write a little better. Then you're starting to build a chain by the time they graduate, and the technology was the root, which is really exciting. And then to talk about some of our signature programs that are not necessarily collegiate pathways. Many of them do have dual credit opportunities, but this is the program of study ones for each of the high schools. Now, I offer a lot at each high school and I could not list them all. But behind me, these are the ones that we've isolated for each campus, so that way there's variety. Another strength of Garland ISD is that we're a choice district. Our kids living in our district can pick any of our high schools and attend. I think we're one of the only 2 in the state. And if you look at our transportation maps, we're sending kids all over the place to make sure they can get to this kind of stuff. Well, technology, what you offer, the variety, attracts the kids to those programs, which builds that choice. And so you can see what we do all through it. So PLTW, if you're not familiar, that's a pre-engineering program that we run through North Garland High School. Let me see if there's another one. I said HVAC, that's air conditioning, that we're about to turn dual credit. Air Force JROTC at Rowlett High School, but between all these, you're starting to see the trend in Garland. We can approach any kid. And it's what we do in the classroom that helps us do that. And we're very proud of that. So just to give I got to brag a little bit too. Since I'm here, the priorities have led to some significant change. We are the leading district in CCMR in Dallas County. We'll put some asterisks. There isn't one above us. It's Highland Park. I don't count them. I'm going to go back to my numbers. We approach every American. Highland Park's a very specific group, but we're competing with them. That's what I want to be very proud of. We're breaking down the barriers of affluency with what we do with technology and course offerings. That's powerful, and that feels awesome. Then also, I'm just going to be proud of the leading indicator for CCMR in this district is industry-based certifications. Next up is dual credit opportunities. CTE is the #1 contributor to the dual credit hours in Garland ISD. I'm going to take a pause, let's just all. No, but it's been hard work. Well, and having a supportive board makes all the difference. But they set priorities, then we set priorities, and that goes back to my main message. Once you know your priorities, stick to it and build from that. That's my theme for this keynote today. Last year we had over 3,600 certifications that were offered in this district, and those of you that are fellow CTE directors, you know we lifted a lot last year. We did a lot of work to connect every certification to a level 2 course, getting ready for this year, which means an advanced course in CTE. And I can proudly say that those 3,600 that were earned were all tied to curriculum and all aligned to what's going on in those programs of study. So now my knowledge of work matches my technical skills. Going right back to the priorities that I was mentioning earlier. Then also, I'm here, so I better tell you what we do here, right? It's a beautiful facility. Many of your faces look like the kids on the first day. You walk in these hallways and, oh my God, like this is beautiful. And so Brandy Schneider, again, if you interface with her during break today, make sure you talk with her about what's going on in this district or in this building. But I'm going to give you a brief overview. So in terms of the numbers, we offer, it's about 1,500 kids. We have 29 programs to study, about 90 advanced courses. And how this building works is this is the capstone for many of our programs to study across our 7 high schools. So to give you a good example, the one that's probably most popular is our culinary program. If you can't tell, they make really awesome chocolate chip cookies. So yeah, you'll just have to find out. But all the high schools offer principles of hospitality. They offer intro to culinary, but then they come here for that in-depth experience. And then also here we have chef, we have dual credit opportunities, we run after school events. And if you get to poke around and see inside those labs, it's industry standard or better. If you walk in the pastry lab and you see a proofer, I've learned that if you have a proofer like your top dog, which means you can get the yeast to develop in about 15 minutes as opposed to waiting 24 hours. So it's like big stuff. It's probably why the cookies taste so good, but I don't know all the technical work there. But to see what we do here at the GRCTC, so we have pathways that feed into all these programs. Some that I want to call out in terms of this conversation is be ready to, when you commit to your priority, you're going to have to dig deep to find some funding. Randy's probably going to smile a little bit because we talked a lot about the second bullet on manufacturing, which is manufacturing engineering. We're actually converting that lab into an industrial robotics lab, and we've had to, one, talk with the Dallas County Manufacturing Association, get the input of what we really should be using in that lab, and then over the last 2 years, we've had to do some significant purchases to make sure that the kids have AC/DC electronic trainers, that they know how to use the pneumatic and electronic PLCs, and that they're getting ready to use like a FANUC simulator so they can be an automated maintenance tech. But to commit to that priority, it takes some dedication, some budgeting, some really tough conversations at times. But again, the theme here is once you find that priority, commit and run. But you can see the rest of them here. One that I want to call out too, outdoor power. That one's really converted into outdoor power sports. You're going to see some beautiful motorcycles around the building. My favorite is the chopper, but I'll let you find it and then come see me and I'll give you the history on it. But also here, there's priorities for this building itself. Open spaces for collaboration, feedback from industry professionals. This building has, we're a district of innovation, which means we can use industry experience to do our own certification process. In this building, it's about 65% of them are fresh from industry, no pedagogy experience at all. And this really disrupted my thinking because I came through as a history teacher. I've gone through all the things. I have a master's degree. I'm a certified superintendent. I've done the things. But the best teachers I've seen, there's 2 of them. They're fresh from industry and they're absolute rock stars and no pedagogy, which totally rocks my world. But if you're going to use the technology right, you got to have the people that know how to use it. And so that way the kids get the experience that they need too. And so connecting back, also this building has that state-of-the-art component that drives the technical skills of my priority and a high focus on industry-based certification. Last year out of this one building, so 8 high school campuses, this one building drove 26% of all industry-based certifications in our district. So it's providing a solution for kids and really giving access to some great success along the way. So this is my information. I also have my cards in my jacket. I can hand them out if you'd like one. And but we're very proud. Special thanks to Learning Council for inviting me along. It's my second time to participate as a speaker. But I'm excited that y'all said something about priorities because I think my team's probably a little worn out listening to me talk about our priorities all the time. But again, once you have it, stick with it, run with it, and let it make those decisions for your kids and your schools. I appreciate the time.
You leave it on?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so let's ask him some questions, okay? I'll go first. What about drones and underwater drones?
Okay.
You done with that? We just saw that in Denver.
So I don't know about underwater drones. Like that first off, I'm like, whoa, what do you do there?
They have a pool. They have like a literal huge tank, right, Mary?
Yep.
They had a huge
Submersible
tank.
drones.
I mean, I'm guessing it has some connection to underwater welding, so you can go inspect it and check it out instead of risking the person's life. Like automatically my mind's like, what? But in terms of drone robotics, so the other thing that's gone on in our district, our community has thrown a ton of support behind us for a bond. We just passed a $1.3 billion bond that includes it.
Don't say numbers out loud.
We're proud of it. That's telling us that our community loves us, and it meant a lot for our community to stand up and say, we're really going to do this for you. Part of that is an expansion here. And so drone robotics is one of our short list of what we are going to do here in the long run. We've got 2 main entry points. There's a robotics component that our industry partners are excited to see that drive a connection to the manufacturers here in town.
Okay.
We're a town that has about 330 manufacturers in Garland alone.
Yeah.
But then also, real estate agents really want certified drone operators because that's how they're selling homes now. Check out this property, check out what we're doing. And so there's this growing need from two aspects that we're looking into in the future.